Victoria Gallagher. She's a worldwide leader in hypnotherapy. She's an author. She's an international speaker, a life success coach. We talk about her great content and what she does with how she helps people, how she coaches people through, trying to get through getting them to the next level. We talk about meditation and affirmations. She's one of the main books. She's written many books, but the law of attraction and how that works. It's just a great conversation about uh, how to get yourself to the next level. About hypnotism, how it's very close to affirmations, how you can make suggestions. He has an application. She has an app you could download that does hypnotism. Lot of incredible content to help you to really achieve and get to that next level, to help you uh, with many of issues with weight loss, with many um, trying to make more money, visualize yourself doing a lot of great things to help yourself. She's really talented. She's had a history where she's had some trauma, and she's able to turn that around, help herself, and then turn it completely around and help others. Victoria Gallagher, absolute pleasure. You're going to enjoy this conversation. Thanks so much for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business and it lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you are helping a lot of people, and you've got it's a great pleasure to meet you, Victoria Gallagher. Great
Oh,
pleasure. Thanks so
oh.
much for doing this. Uh, I want to start with I get to talk to a lot of great people. I want to start to talk about like meditation. I just did one of your meditations. I've been doing them for a couple weeks, and I just finished one a couple minutes ago, and it just puts me in a different place.
Yes. Which one did you do, by the way?
The one where you wanted to do it for 30 days in a row.
Okay. That
Is
narrows
that
it down to about the top 500.
is there really that many? I kind of zone out, I don't
Yes.
remember specifically. Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you meditate daily?
I do. Anywhere from, like a very, very minimum of 5 minutes if I'm having one of those days where, I'm just like, "Oh, I gotta get this done." To, an average, I really strive for 30 minutes a day.
Wow. Is it always
Yeah.
unassisted?
Most of the time it's unassisted. I have my meditation chair and I
Hmm.
sit literally like, like a monk cross-legged with my,
Wow.
hands together on top of my lap or, my hands, sitting on top of my lap. And it's just silent and it's all about for me, it's all about getting control over my thoughts because, if you can control your thoughts, then you can control your life. So for me, it, doing it unassisted, completely silent. Now, I also do I actually start with a meditation, a silent meditation, and then after I've done that, then whatever I'm working on manifesting in my life, whether it's more business success or more peace or more balance or being a faster runner, whatever it is, then I'll turn to the next. I literally have two places in my meditation room. One is my meditation chair, and then the next one is my hypnosis lounge. And
Wow.
so I'll move over to my hypnosis lounge and I'll put on any anything that I'm working on, and so then that's time to just receive the guidance.
Hmm. And the difference between meditation and hypnotism is?
The difference between meditation is really about, what, I think my mic might be just a little hot here. The difference between meditation and meditation is really more about kind of clearing the mind. And when I say clearing the mind, it's not, your mind isn't ever going to go completely
Hmm.
clear. No one really can do that because the mind's whole job is to think
Hmm.
and to organize and to compare and to do all of the processes that we do while we're thinking. But you're not really intending anything to receive any new information or new programming or new suggestions.
Ah.
And so that's what the true essence of meditation is all about. Hypnosis is completely the opposite. That's about reprogramming the mind. That's about taking and receiving the suggestions and literally having those go into the subconscious mind to replace old programming that might not be serving you.
Interesting. And how were you introduced into hypnotism?
So I was introduced, and there's a variety of different layers to that question. Like you could literally say we were all introduced to
Hmm.
to hypnosis and meditation when we came into this world because
Hmm.
we've been getting hypnotized since the time we came out of the womb.
Hmm.
So we were introduced to it not necessarily by choice, but technically back when I was about 18, I moved from Seattle or Tacoma, Washington to LA. And it was literally like when I moved from there as this totally unconfident girl who was picked on throughout school. It was like I made this transition from that girl to Miss, confident. I literally changed my name. I used to be called Vicky, and I changed my
Hmm.
name to Victoria. And I really kind of started getting curious about things, even from the time that I was living in West Hollywood with my father. And I went to they had this store, I'm not sure if it still exists there, called the Bodhi Tree. And at the Bodhi Tree, you could learn about all different types of sects of, religion, which I wasn't really into religion, but they had like this new age section in there. And they had the books on meditation and calming the mind and Dick Sutphin material and soulmates and past lives and all this. I was just so interested in this esoteric metaphysical world, and
Hmm.
that's when I really started delving into it. My mom got me this book. The first self-help book that I ever read was by Dr. Robert Anthony, called Total Self-Confidence. My mom sent me that book for a reason, obviously. And in that book he taught self hypnosis. He taught auto suggestion. And I just gobbled it up. I was just turned on to that information immediately. And the book is a like a do it, like where you write down your vision for your life and you do the exercises and you literally, and I was a little scared, at first, to like
Hmm.
actually meditate. Like, what's going to happen? Am I going to hear things or find out things that I'm not really ready to hear or find out about, but it's not. I soon learned it wasn't like that at all. You're totally in control of the process. There aren't any weird things that are going to take place when you decide to tune inward and just listen.
And were there certain things you wanted to work on? Like when you meditate or when you do self-hypnosis, I want to work on this specific area and you move forward with that, or is it just kind of general?
Typically, you get better so with meditation,
Mm,
and sort of if we branch into, hypnosis, that is usually for a specific intention. And so we'll kind of go into that because that's where I'm really more of an expert in.
mm,
I mean, I'm definitely an expert in meditation, but what I teach is self hypnosis, and so you typically do want to have an area of your life that you want to work on. Most people, they have many areas of their life that they want to work on at the same time. They want to work on their relationship with people. They want to work on their relationship with money. They want to get into good shape. They want to learn how to manage or could control their time, whatever it is. There's many different things. And my suggestion for people is that, if really to write down a wish list
hmm,
for yourself of all the things that you want to work on, because ultimately, and these might be considered your strengths or your weaknesses. If you can strengthen your strengths, but you can
hmm,
also turn your weaknesses into strengths. And I mean, coming from somebody who was the most l- lacking in confidence, now I've definitely turned that weakness into a strength, because when you work on something, you overcome something. It's almost like if you break a ankle and then you put a cast on it,
mm,
for a little while, the bone actually grows back stronger
right.
than it originally was. And I think the same thing holds true with our emotions and our ego and
Hmm,
the things that break inside of us spiritually and emotionally and mentally. If when we are broken down in some way, if we work to fix those things, work to harness the power that's within us, we can grow back that much stronger and just become, so anything that might be considered a weakness can definitely become a strength. So I always encourage people to really, um, make a wish list, but then check off one thing at a time, one particular desire or focus, because the more you focus on that one thing, the more attention you're giving that one thing, the more efficient and effective you're going to be in just that one area. And then once you feel like you've gotten the result from that and you've received some benefit, then you can move on, and you have that much more confidence moving into other areas of your life once you realize that you've gotten that goal checked off.
incredible. So do you hypnotize others or do you promote self-hypnotism or both?
Well, first of all, let me answer that with, also saying that all hypnosis is self hypnosis.
Ah,
So, yes, I do promote self hypnosis. And yes, I also hypnotize other people. But what I mainly do, one of the things that I realized when I got into this business, so kind of backing up to, like when I that's when I first learned about self hypnosis, was, back when I was about 18. Then I probably would say I took about a 10-year hiatus from the whole self-help thing, and I started on a different path. And my path was, I wanted to be a rock star. And so I put a band together, met my, first husband at the time, who was a bass player for our band. And there wasn't really a lot of time for personal development during those days. I was
fun though.
I was having lots of fun. And, and then about 5 or 6 years after that, we ended up getting divorced. I became a stockbroker, and I worked on, Wall Street for a little
Wow.
while. And then about 6 years into my career, I kind of started having my version of maybe like a little mini nervous breakdown.
Hmm.
And it presented itself in anxiety and depression. And I just didn't I kind of like lost my passion for everything and couldn't really get out of bed in the morning. And all of that led me to taking a personal development seminar called Psy Seminars, and when I was living in Las Vegas at the time. And we got a little bug in here. And so during the seminar, we would practice like meditation, self-hypnosis. They didn't call it that. They called it closed eye techniques. And we
Hmm.
would do these visualizations. And, during these visualizations, I just had these really profound moments of self awareness and discovery, and really realized in that 4-day weekend that this was it. Like somehow, some way, facilitating this kind of level of awareness in other people was what I wanted to be when I grow up.
Hmm.
That's what I wanted to do, and I was going to figure out some way to make that happen. And I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, but I really felt like I wanted to make these hypnotic recordings and meditative recordings and sell them on a website somewhere. And so that was like my breakthrough moment of, really. And there was a lot of huge roller coaster with getting that all set up. But in
Hmm.
1999, I quit my day job, a six-figure job as a stockbroker, and started my own online company. And way back when, with my first 8 hypnosis recordings. And I was seeing clients at the time that I was starting that up. But I really honestly, there was something about, I mean, I still see clients, but I really love helping people, the self-helpers. I think just being a
Hmm.
self-helper myself, and going through all of these books and meditations, and doing this work on myself, I wanted to just empower people to empower themselves, and to let people know that, you know what, it's all inside of you. You just have to do the work. You just have, and giving them that extra motivation, that extra push, that extra, but really letting people know it's like, I mean, you can do this on your own. You don't need anybody but your own self. And that, really set me on the path to creating this huge, what's the word I'm looking for? Library, if you will, of all kinds of, meditations and affirmations and meditations and hypnosis and personal development courses, and on, all the content.
Victoria, incredible amounts of content. I mean, it's so rich with manifesting conditions. You name 8 of them, where you talk about bunnies versus elephants, where you want to vision, keep visioning bunnies, and desire, align your thoughts, use your imagination. I mean, and you're very good at um simplifying and delivering. Very, very good at it. You're compelling as well. You do a really good job at it, and I can see why so many people follow you and you help them.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. And I do really try to keep it as simple as possible. I mean, so many people try to complicate it, and
Mm.
I really do try to keep it as simple as possible. Within within the realm of reality too. I really like
Right.
to keep people, it's like sometimes people will make it a little too simple, to the point where it seems like it's a magic trick, and it's not a magic trick. It really does, require you follow a certain set of guidelines and principles, and that you're not going to manifest things without taking some action and that kind of thing. So I do really try to really dispel the myths and really empower people with the truth of what it actually takes to manifest your dreams, and that it's all possible.
Yeah, you're really good at it, and I have so many more questions. Do you happen to know Wendy Friesen? I know there's many
Yes,
hypnotists. Okay,
I
so
do. I have to, yeah.
she's great.
I
I
don't know if you
spoke with
have a
her.
question for me about her, but I definitely have stories
Please, yeah, I
to
spoke to her
tell.
for like I spoke to her a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago. She was great.
Oh, she is definitely, she's one of my mentors, and, interestingly enough, so back in 1999 is when I started my company to sell the hypnosis recordings. And there wasn't a lot of people in this
Mm,
industry to look up to at that time. I mean, the internet started in 1996, so,
sure.
or 94. I mean, it wasn't really around long enough for there to be people that have like a huge following. And so it was really hit and miss to try to find anybody that had done and I wasn't even really looking. But back in the day, I had these little news groups. These little, and like they're akin to forums,
Right, chat
and
rooms, yeah,
little
forums.
chat rooms, and
Yeah.
news groups. And I remember, that's how we met, was in a news group. And then I happened to mention I was coming to Northern California. It was actually to take one of these advanced seminars, and so she invited me to stay at her place. And so I stayed there, and I just remember, I mean, she just was such a warm, welcoming person. And she brought me into her garage where she had all of these, of course, at the time there were tapes and CDs, and she had her whole thing back there. And she, shared she's making a good living on this. And at the time I wasn't really making that much money at it. I didn't know, I didn't have a context, I didn't have a model.
Mm,
And so if you've never done something before, even though I knew in my head I can make money at this, I didn't have anybody out there that was doing that, and she was doing it. And like literally the lights turned on, and it's amazing how just having a new perception, have it was the paradigm shift that I needed.
hmm,
Meeting Wendy Friesen, literally that changed my whole paradigm about how, whether I could make money or not at this. And like it just, that in a way is a form of, I mean, she hypnotized me
hmm,
just by opening up her house to me and showing me what she does and how she does it. And it was like that, in a way, is a form of hypnosis. When you change your perspective on something, your perception right on the spot. I mean, that's really what we do in hypnosis, is we change our beliefs, we change our perception. So that happened. So I really have her to thank for, just showing, creating a new level of awareness.
yeah, the stories, I mean, the easy ones are stop people from smoking, stop people from, for all these things that she's done. But then, she talks about how, like, she helped, like, breast enlargement and,
Mhm.
and things like this, just because I don't wanna ruin it, but she is just really, really, interesting and talented, and, she's out there in Kona now. She's out there in Hawaii, and, yeah, just the stories that she had about, how she was first introduced, and, it's it really it ushered a way into, for me and hopefully the audience, into hypnotism, because it's got kind of a stigma to it.
It does, and it's a shame, but, it's kind of an interesting situation because it has this weird stigma
Mm,
because a lot of what people how people find out about hypnosis is they'll usually see a stage hypnosis or they'll see some kind of movie. The way that they depict hypnosis makes it seem just so out there and so outlandish and so hard to believe. But once you really dig in and understand what makes those people do what they do on stage and why they do that, why they would be the type of person that might raise their hand to volunteer to
mm,
be a hypnotic subject. I mean, it then once you really understand all of that, you really begin to understand hypnosis and how the power of the mind works and just how like underutilized our minds really are. And it's today with technology and with the news and with the kind of the way that we dumb things down for people. It's people are getting a little bit further away from actually utilizing all the power
mm,
in their minds. But then
mhm.
on the other hand, there's more and more data coming out about the power of the mind and meditation and spirituality. So, it's really interesting because it's all out there, all the information's out there, and our minds are just so powerful that we can really do anything. And like you're talking about some of the things that Wendy does. I mean, the mind and the body
Yes,
connection, it's amazing what what can be done.
absolutely. And then we come to your affirmations, where
Mhm.
you have like these daily affirmations, and they're, I'm a magnet for success and abundance. I'm attractive, beautiful, abundant gifts in my life, regular basis. I'm deserving of luxury items. I mean, it's just, what's the genesis of this? Is this something you practice yourself and pull apart and then give to us?
So, yeah, I do practice affirmations. And, when it comes to affirmations, I believe that affirmations are a tool to they're not necessarily designed so well to reprogram the mind unless you go into a hypnotic state
Hmm.
and unless you, are really accessing the subconscious mind. A lot of times, especially the way that a lot of affirmations out there are written, the mind has a tendency to reject information that doesn't line up with what it already believes is true. It's called confirmation bias. And
Hmm.
you have a tendency to only relate to information that, when you're in a full conscious beta awareness state of mind, you tend to reject a lot of those types of suggestions. So, like when you
Uh,
say, I am rich, I am magnetic, I am beautiful, if you don't really believe those things, then it sets up a negative vibration. It sets up and you
uh,
actually will repel the very thing that you're saying out loud. So it's really imperative that people make affirmations that follow a set of rules, and those rules being that the affirmation is stated in a positive way. So a lot of
hmm,
times when I say it's said in a positive way, for example, if you say that I want, like if you have a lot of debt that you want to try to get rid of, you say, so I want to pay off all my debt. Well, when you say I want to pay off all my debt, you have to bring up the word debt in order to, think about paying it off,
hmm.
right? And so what happens is the opposite can happen. If you say, I want to make all this new money because I want to pay off my debt. What you're really doing is you're focusing on debt and you're focusing on creating more of the same. So that's what I mean by you want to state things in a positive way. And in that regard, you want to say something to the effect of, I want to create a positive balance in my checking account or in my savings account. I want to create a positive surplus of extra money. So that's the first thing, is
Hmm.
creating affirmations that are positive. Like, again, another one that's really popular, people want to say, I want to lose weight. I
Hmm.
want to lose weight. Well, that's like about the worst affirmation that you can say, because number one, weight. So you're thinking about weight, which is attracting more weight to you, because
Interesting.
whatever you focus on and place your attention and energy on is what you attract more to you. So weight is going to only going to attract more weight. And then losing, well, think about the lost and found. We tend to want to find things that we lose. So that word in and of itself is like the worst word.
Wow.
So what do we want to do? We want to be slender and happy. We want to attract. We want to be at our ideal body, our
Hmm.
ideal image. And so that's the very first rule, is really to keep it on the positive. And the other really important rule is that the affirmation is true and believable. So when people say, I am I'm a millionaire, but they're $10,000 in debt, that's obviously not true for that person in that moment. And so how do we take the thing that they want and turn that into something that's true and believable? We use what I call sentence helpers. And so they're like little bridge words that we can use that take us there. They kind of weaken the affirmation a little bit to the point that we can accept them and believe them.
Hmm.
So, for example, I'm working on becoming a millionaire. I'm working on becoming a millionaire is a way to say that. Or, I am in the process of achieving my ideal body and size. And so if you say these things, well, is that true? And so, whatever it is that you can believe and that is true, and then the other rule about it and really what affirmations are designed to do is to get you to feel good. That's
Hmm.
really the whole aim. Because when you feel good and you're in that positive vibration, because feeling good is it's on the positive side of the vibrational scale. However you define good, it could be happy, it could be free, it could be bliss, whatever it is. When you're in that state, you're going to be more attractive. You're going to attract people, situations, circumstances. You're going to take action, of course. It when you're working on just say you're working on getting into the best shape ever, and and you're not feeling very good about that. You might end up staying in bed and not doing
Hmm.
your exercise, or not doing your staying true to your diet and your routine. So all of this is really designed for us to feel good so that we can track the things and people, and so that we can take the inspired action, and really also just be receptive to new ideas and new insights and intuition, really taking over our brain and inviting all of that new information into our life. So, affirmations, in a nutshell.
Yeah. In business, when we make goals, uh, we want them to be, the acronym is SMART: specific,
Mhm.
measurable, accurate, reliable, and timely. So, I want to lose weight. Yeah, I'm going to lose 20 pounds by October 15th. So it's kind of it's a bit, but this is business. We're talking more about affirmations here. So it sounds like affirmations really kind of borders on hypnosis.
In a way, and it was interesting how you were talking about the SMART goals. So I think of the way that I like to make affirmations as SMART affirmations because they have to
Ah.
hit all of these parameters. And I don't exactly have the acronym for the SMART affirmations exactly like the SMART goals, but they're in a way they're like little mini they're little mini statements that are in alignment with your goals. And yeah, they definitely are in a way a little mini hypnosis,
Hmm.
and to help you to reprogram the subconscious mind, but to get them really into the subconscious mind. You really do have to be in the habit of saying them very, very regularly, very routine. Or, the quicker way is to actually induce a hypnotic state and then receive the affirmations when you're at the theta state level of mind. The theta level of mind being, when the brain waves have slowed down. And when your brain waves have slowed down, you're just in a much, much more
Hmm.
receptive state where you're just agreeing with, oh, yeah, this is true. This is true. I am willing to do that. I can see myself doing that. This is possible. All of that becomes much more believable and achievable when you're in that yummy, relaxed theta state of mind.
I like that you said it's yummy, so you're
It is
receptive.
yummy.
Yeah, that's very I like the positivity too. I play golf and there's a big pond on the left. You never say, "Don't go left, don't go left." You say, "Keep it right, keep it right." You just stay positive.
That is such a great see, that's such a great analogy. I'm gonna incorporate that into my explanation the next time because I really do love what you just said there. If you as a golfer, you focus on, don't go, well, you're gonna end up going that way.
The difference between a good and a bad caddy. The caddy will say, "Hey,
Mhm.
just keep it right. Keep it right." They won't say, "Whatever
Mhm.
you do, don't go left." You don't want those thoughts in your head when you're standing over the ball. So,
Yeah.
what is the typically when somebody comes to you, what are they trying to achieve? What is their goal and how do you help them?
So I have many different types of clients that come to me, but mostly it's entrepreneurs
Mm,
that are trying to achieve more business success. A lot of times it's that they are either still in their regular job and they're trying to turn their side hustle into their full-time business.
hmm,
So I help a lot of entrepreneurial people to really just get their mindset wrapped around that they can actually do this and achieve success and release and get rid of any money blocks that they might have around that. A lot of times it's people that are in the healing field, people that are doing that are hypnotists themselves, and haven't really figured out how to just make money at what they love doing. And I think so many times people
hmm,
just um they just they get this idea in their head that well, because I'm in the helping profession, I'm a healer, that means that I'm supposed to give everything away for free. And
oh boy.
and nothing could be further from the truth because it's people that are in this profession that are really making a significant change and difference in people's lives. So what you do is really important. So I help people like that. I also help people to find their soulmates,
Hmm,
and and that's another book that I wrote is how to
Saw that.
manifest your soulmate, and I talk about my story of manifesting my own soulmate, and finally, I just I help people just to become more confident in their life, whether it be for dating or for business, and really developing that confidence.
How much of what you do when you help them is art versus science?
That's a really good question that I've never been asked that before. And I would have to say it's probably more of an art.
Hmm.
That I mean, there is definitely a science to how the mind works, but any hypnotist will tell you nobody has it 100% figured out exactly why suggestions take hold in the subconscious mind. And so there is some science to how the mind works and the levels of the mind, and the subconscious mind, the differences between what the subconscious mind can control and what the conscious mind controls. But I think so much of it is really an art. It's really having an
Hmm.
artful way of speaking to the subconscious mind. It's an art to be able to listen and listen from an intuitive level so many times. And this is how I can really validate that it's an art, because so many times I will be taking a client through a session and words will come out of my mouth that I've never heard myself say before.
Really?
Yes. And and I don't claim to be any kind of channel or anything like that, but what it is it's this deep rapport that you get with a client, that you are really really speaking their language to the point that you're feeding them exactly what it is that they need to hear back, and you're really able to reflect back to them. And sometimes it's so interesting too, because they'll come out of trance at the end, and they'll say, wow, that was amazing. And I especially loved the part when you said, and it was those words that, like, I've never even said those
Hmm.
before, and that's when I have completely tapped into something that I didn't know that I was tapping into. And that I can't even take credit for it, because that wasn't even me. So that's where science kind of leaves the room
Hmm.
and the art really enters in. But it's definitely a good balance, a good combination of both, I would say.
Yeah, because your background, you were a musician, which seems to be mostly art. Then you were a stockbroker, which I think is a little more science, and now into this,
Yeah.
it's like you have a great mixture of the both, and it's fascinating how you approach it. We talk a lot about so the kind of premise of the podcast, I lost a lot of weight. How did I do it? Everybody asks me, and I say, well, discipline. So, there's no magic bullet. It's just, I came to a moment and I wanted to lose it and I use discipline. How do you use discipline? Does it ever play a role, self-discipline or discipline itself, and how you help others?
Yes, discipline to me is such a key to it all. I mean, it really is. But not everybody is born with or has the discipline or knows how to tap into that
Mm.
discipline. And so hypnosis is that way of tapping into giving that person that discipline. I mean, I love discipline. I am probably one of the most disciplined people you've ever met.
Hmm.
And, lately, I'll admit, I have struggled just a tiny little bit with some procrastination lately. And,
So have I.
it's odd.
Yeah,
It's so
very odd.
odd that, like, it's only occurred in the last couple of weeks. And it's partly because look at this great black backdrop.
It's
Um,
great.
it's partly because I'm sitting here in the studio, and like there's all these little things that I keep wanting to do. So I set out for the day that I need to write these YouTube scripts and I need to record these YouTube scripts. And when I'm disciplined, I do my Pomodoros. I'm sure you're familiar with doing
Mhm.
Pomodoros if you
Mhm.
talk about discipline. And but there has been this moment, this thing where I go like, well, wait, just 5 minutes before I do that, and I'm gonna check this for a minute, and then 2 hours later, it's like, "Whoop, where'd the day go?" Where and, so I can relate now. I feel like I was having these experiences because it's almost like the universe was giving me a taste of what it's like to be on the other side of discipline, because
Mm.
I have had so much discipline my whole life, and I like, that's my middle name, but now I have this resource that I can tap into of, like, I know my client that has that lack of discipline that much better. And so now I understand a little bit about what they go through because I I had a little taste of it. And but I'm mostly, a disciplined person. And hypnosis is so great for discipline
Hmm.
because I mean, all you really have to do is, discipline to me is like built on a reward system. And, in for some people they're just intrinsically motivated. And so and I am an intrinsically motivated person, and so I don't necessarily need any baubles or anything, to motivate me, anything
Right.
out there. It's all personal
Mm.
satisfaction. It's
Mhm.
all accomplishment. It's all achievement. It's like, yes, I did this. Right. And so I can just tap in and I can see a picture of myself going, woo, I did it. Like, and checking boxes and really going in and just having that good feeling. But for other people, they can also use hypnosis to just give them, that feeling of like other people seeing their accomplishment, or, that you can really just create whatever state you want with hypnosis. That's what I love about it. It's so amazing and so powerful because it'll give you the ideal you and the ideal resources, and you can just tap into that anytime you want after having a taste of that going into your subconscious mind and letting it reveal to you who that person is as a self-disciplined, self-confident, motivated person.
Well said, Victoria. Very well said. Yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, you could chalk it up to it's the end of the summer.
Yeah.
you're just falling back a little bit. That's the excuse I gave myself because I found myself doing the same thing for the last couple weeks. And I think that's it. So why number 7? Why the law of attraction?
Why number 7 and why the law of attraction?
Yes.
What's the number 7?
Isn't 7 the seventh universal law is the law of attraction?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes, there's so many different things 7 could mean, but yes. So
Yes.
the law, why do I prefer that law over like the other
12. Yeah.
possible
Yeah.
universal laws?
Yeah.
I think, well, number 1, it's the one that most people are familiar with.
Hmm.
And, when I was first learning about hypnosis, I almost felt like law of attraction and hypnosis were like synonymous. I
Hmm.
honestly, it's not that I, didn't understand like what hypnosis was and what law of attraction was, but to me, they very much work together because, if you really think about the law of attraction is all about attracting what you focus on, and hypnosis is a way to simply get you to think about and focus on what you want at a deeper level, at the subconscious level. And not only that, but it's about changing those beliefs so that you're more inclined to focus on what you want. Because, again, those pesky subconscious beliefs, those limiting beliefs, they have a tendency to run the show. And so it's one of the reasons why people fail to manifest what they want to manifest, is because they have a tendency to just get distracted by other things that are not in alignment with what they consciously say that they want. And
Hmm.
so what hypnosis does is it really helps to bridge that gap with people that are working on manifesting with the law of attraction, and helping them to understand that, there are counter beliefs that are going on at the unconscious level, that are steering people away from what it is that they want, because the subconscious is running the show. It's the driver. So we have to change those beliefs. So I think of these two as almost being
Hmm.
synonymous, because everything ultimately we're attracting to us, all the results that we have, we're attracting those results based on what we're thinking about consciously and subconsciously. And and when I took that seminar, the one that really shifted my awareness and made me realize I wanted to do this work, the words that they had in front on the stage were, and we're staring at the whole time, was, to think is to create. To think is to create.
Hmm.
And that was the whole premise of so much of this seminar. I don't think they once used the term the law of attraction, but it really, solidified, based on a lot of the work that we did on there, in there, so much of the other books that I had been reading by Shakti Gawain, Creative Visualization, and Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra, and so many of these amazing authors that did talk about the law of attraction. And Bob Proctor, of course,
Hmm.
back, way back in the day. And then the movie The Secret came out,
Right.
and then the whole idea of the law of attraction became known. And I was like, oh, I can finally like talk about this, because people are aware of what I'm talking about. Because before, if I would ever try to mention the law of attraction, forget it. Like, it just would not be it just
Hmm.
wouldn't be received as well. Um, so it's really just been something that I fell in love with a long, long time ago, and really wanted to give people a better understanding of how it works, and how they can create whatever they want. I just really love for people to realize that about themselves, that there's no limits. The only limits that we have are the limits that are within our own mind. We can do, we can be anything that we want. And if you really understand this work and you really do this work, you will realize how you yourself create your whole reality, whether it's a reality that you're enjoying or a reality that you're not enjoying. We're the ones that are setting this up for ourselves. And it takes work.
Hmm.
It takes that discipline.
Hmm.
It really does. It takes that mental discipline, and it takes that passion, and it takes a desire, and it takes a willingness, and it takes making a decision, a daily decision, that you're going to create this life, and to never give up. There's things that you want, and sometimes it doesn't make sense how you're going to get to create that thing. But that seed wouldn't have been planted in your mind, that desire, if there wasn't a way to bring that about. I mean, that it just wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be fair
Hmm.
for us to have these desires if there wasn't, it's just, you got to be patient and get all the puzzle pieces put together, and you know what? They're all there. They're all there. Even though sometimes, you get that you're looking for that last piece, it's under the table, it's over there, it's somewhere. So I
It's
hope that answered your question.
absolutely. I thought of you today because on the way here, I saw a penny I was in an airport actually, and one of your great content said, when you're looking for money and your affirmations there, even when you see something like that, take a mental note of that. Take a mental note and realize that that may be coming true. I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great sign. Seeing money, even if it's like just a little penny.
Right.
And, again, like back in the day, they used to say to find a penny, pick it up. These days, I don't know if you really want to pick up the penny, but look at it
Right.
and say, oh,
Acknowledge.
thank you. Acknowledge it.
So you
Or
tease
maybe,
me.
use a little alcohol wipe when picking it up.
That's
I
right,
don't
that's right. You have to be careful. You never know what's around, yeah. So you tease me,
know.
I need to hear the story of finding your soulmate.
Oh my goodness, yes. So, all right. Backing up to about 2004, I was, kind of still coming off of a relationship that I was a little bit attached to for a long, long time, and I think it took me a while to ultimately let go of that one.
Mm,
And anyway, I had known a little bit about, hypnosis and manifesting and all of that at being a hypnotist. And I created I created an intention statement. And the
mm,
intention statement was like my top 20 things that I listed out that I wanted in a man. And I just formed that into an intention statement, and I made that my Match.com profile.
hmm,
And I have to tell you, I got so many people telling me, that like I did my profile wrong, or that who am I to list out, so many things, and I'm never going to get blah blah blah. And I just had to ignore all those people because I knew, like,
good for you.
look, here's the thing. If you settle for less than what you want, are you going to spend like 20, 30, 40, 50
Mm,
years with somebody who is less than what you want? Like, who cares if I'm, single for a year, 2 years or 3 years or 5 years? Who cares? I mean, as long as I find the person who matches up with what I'm going for. So, anyway, long story longer, I did eventually find this person, and it was kind of an interesting way how he came about, because we met on again on Match.com, and then after meeting, we split up after about 3 dates. It was my choice.
hmm,
I was, just kinda dating too many other people, and I was just kinda trying to narrow down who who to go for. So, about 6 months later, after that little breakup, I I set my intention again, and I listened to my Attract Your Soulmate program. And 2 weeks after listening to my own program, I had sent out a mailing, and it was about this karaoke show that I was going to be on TV, and I sent it to like everyone I ever had any contact with, including the person that I broke up with, 6 months prior. So he responds to that email, and he says, "Hey, I know you weren't really expecting me to respond, but would you like to get together for dinner sometime?" And so, as it turns out, we went out for dinner, and like the second I saw him, it just was like this new feeling. Like it came,
wow.
like it was a different experience from the experience that I had, the 6 months. And so it was like it was him, and he was destined to be my soulmate.
Hmm,
And we ended up moving to from Las Vegas at the time to Virginia. We didn't really have a good time in Virginia.
Mm.
We ended up actually, so we lived together. We got engaged, we got unengaged, we moved to Florida. After we moved to Florida, I made it my intention that we were going to get engaged again. This was in January of 2007. I made it my intention that we were going to get engaged again. And I said by the end of May. Um, I don't know what possessed me to say by the end of May, but I said by the end of May. I
Now
was
you're not
pressed to
sharing
give
this
a
with
date.
him.
Yeah, no,
You're
no,
not
not at
sharing this.
all.
Okay.
I did not share it with him, and, I made, like, a little vision board, and I would go in and do a little visualization. Well, in March, 2 months later, um, he tells me that we are never going to get, engaged or married. And so we can continue to hang out or and again, he didn't know what I was doing. He didn't know any of this. We weren't living together at that time. We were living in separate places, in Florida. And so I said, "Okay." And I cut it off with him completely. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to take this as a sign from the universe that he's not meant to be, and that I'm now calling my soulmate, my actual soulmate, whoever wants to get engaged, to me." And so I continue with my visualizations of getting engaged, getting married. But I just took his face out of the picture and just made it more like vague. And about nine, like eight, I want to say it was like 87 days later, because I was counting this time, because I told myself when we broke up, because I was really, in a rough place. I was really hurt. I mean, I just broke up with the love of my life for like, the last 3.5 years. And so I said, I'm not going to date. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do like anything that's going to put me in any kind of vulnerable place. I don't want to be that drunk dialing,
Mm.
gal, And so for 90 days, I was just going to focus on these certain things, getting in the best shape of my life. And so it literally was about day 87. I was getting ready to, like, I was lining up, getting ready to start dating again. And I went out this night for karaoke, and his car was at the karaoke place, and I hadn't even talked to him in all this time, and I'm like, I mean, he could be in there with a woman for all I
Mm.
know,
Mm.
and I'm, like, sitting out there for about 15 minutes wondering, him and hawing of whether I should go in, and so finally I went in, and he was on stage singing "With or Without You" by
You
U2.
too. Yep.
And then after he gets off the stage, he comes over to me and he says, "Oh my God," he's like, "I've been thinking about you so much. I missed you. I want to talk to you." And within basically, to make the long story short, within a week we were engaged. From that
Wow.
point on, he tells me to meet him on the beach, and he bought me an engagement ring, and we got engaged. And that was May 24th of 2007, and we got married exactly a year later. So I always tell people, don't worry about the date, because the universe has its own kind of time. But that was a situation where, like, the dates somehow or another
Mm.
really lined up, and it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And now we celebrate our 13-year wedding anniversary this last May.
Congratulations. You are so disciplined. My goodness. The way you have these statements and the way you arrange everything, very impressive.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I think discipline. I think you definitely hit the nail on the head when you said. I mean, that is such a key. Such a key to life. I
Mm.
really believe in discipline being such a key, and it's a key when it comes to practicing the law of attraction. I think that's why so many people give up on the law of attraction, because they don't have the discipline that it takes to manage their thoughts, to manage their vibration, their emotions, to take the actions that their intuition is telling them to take.
Hmm.
It all really discipline really does play. It's actually one of the 16 qualities that I talk about in my book. Because I don't really talk so much about the qualities. It should almost be like two books of the
Hmm.
8 manifesting conditions in there, but the 16 qualities, and those qualities, one of them definitely is discipline.
Well, Victoria Gallagher, I mean, I applaud you. So not only did you, you went through all this, you had your crisis, you went to the seminar, you healed yourself, you made yourself better, but then you turned it around and started helping others. I applaud that. Not many people do that. I lost a bunch of weight. I don't really talk about it much. I should try to help others. But you took it to the whole next level where you're helping others. You have incredible content. People are coming to you for help. I applaud that. How can we get in touch with you if we need to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm about to give you that information, but I want to correct you because, you're having people on this podcast. And so I
So
dare say you are
congrats.
definitely, definitely helping people. And so I want to applaud you as well. And, I just really want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share these amazing insights with your amazing guests. So if people want to get in touch with me, one of the best things that they can do is to download my HypnoCloud app.
Mm,
My because when you download the HypnoCloud app, you're gonna end up your email is gonna get into the whole universe of all things Victoria, and in that app you get 12 free hypnosis sessions. This is like a couple $100 of value that you're just gonna get right off the bat when you download the app. One of them being how to master the law of attraction, and so that's one of my all-time favorite, all-time most popular hypnosis sessions. So you get 12 of those for free just for downloading the app. And then if you want to just, come to check out my website, it's victoriamgallagher.com. And there's a couple of free gifts. I love helping people to manifest and use hypnosis and use self-hypnosis to um, create a better life. And so those are a few ways that people can reach out and find me.
and we'll put all those links. You're also on YouTube, you're on Instagram, you're big social media presence. We'll put that all in the show notes. Victoria, I keep on calling you Victoria Gallagher. Should it be Victoria M. Gallagher?
You know what? You can call me Victoria Gallagher or Victoria M. Gallagher.
I say
My website, just to save any confusion, is
M.
victoriamgallagher.com. Just because if you try to go to victoriagallagher.com, it doesn't exist. I
I
tried to
say
get that website many years ago and somebody else has it.
M for Mary.
So, Marie,
Marie, of course, of course.
Marie, very
Victoria,
close.
Victoria Marie Gallagher, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Hope one day to meet you face to face. Maybe
Yes.
you and your husband and my significant other will go out for dinner and have a nice chat and a nice dinner.
Likewise. Yes, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. You be well. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.